Hello.
Oh, hi, how are you?
Dina, I'm great. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for calling and for your time for this interview.
I'm glad it's working out. I'm glad it's working out.
Yes, yes, Dina, and I know you're a very busy person, and it's great to meet you and having this conversation with you.
Yeah, it's great to chat with you too.
Okay, Dina, tell me please about yourself. I know you're best-selling author, and you had some challenges in your life. Please tell me where did you start and how you became so successful and where you are right now.
That's such a good question. So, I would say basically, I mean, it all started kind of about 5 years ago.
Hmm.
5 years ago is when I hit the lowest point in my life. I was at a place where I was in a terrible depression. I was drinking
Yeah.
around the clock. And I planned a date to take my life. I was really in such a horrible place of depression. And from there, I ended up getting help. Not necessarily, that wasn't what I was going for, but it ended up happening that got help. I hooked myself up with a mentor, and one of the first things that she told me to do was to learn how to meditate.
Hmm.
And I remember looking at her like, what is that going to do for me? Like, that sounds so impractical. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't seem like it would do anything for me. But, I had tried everything on, that I could think of to try and fix myself. So I decided to listen to her and to try it. And her instruction to me was to meditate for 20 minutes every morning. But physically, I couldn't do that. I was in such a place of like depression and alcohol withdrawal and negative thoughts. Like, I couldn't sit still for very long. Like, I could sit for about 3 minutes. But because she had told me 20 minutes, I would sit for 3 minutes, and then a couple hours later, I was like, okay, I bet I could do another 3 minutes. And so by the end of the day, I could call her and say, I did it. I did my 20 minutes. So that was like the major step that I took towards kind of my own, healing. And out of that, the 3 minutes meditations I was doing, 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day, it eventually evened out into 3 times a day. So it was what I call 3 by 3 meditation. So 3 minutes 3 times a day.
Yes.
And it not only helped me, getting over my addiction. I mean, of course, I went through addiction recovery program too, but the meditation was a huge part of that.
Hmm.
And not only did it help me with that, but I came up with like these little kind of games that I would play within my meditation, and it helped me heal relationships. It helped me, lose weight, heal my body, those sorts of things. So I really discovered that meditation doesn't have to be something that we do for, 20 minutes or an hour at a time.
Hmm.
We can do it in these little bursts throughout the day, which this way it's not something that you're just kind of doing and checking it off the list. It's like something that you're continuing to do, throughout the day. You're putting these new patterns, these new thought patterns kind of in your brain, and you start living from that space. It becomes your new normal, really.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand, Dina.
Yeah.
Okay. Dina, and what does it mean, like mind-body connection coach? You teach how to meditate and how to tra- uh, transform your life through meditation, or what about this exactly?
Oh, yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
the mind body connection, because most people I find, and this is how I was for 32 years, of my life, is I didn't know it, but I had a very much of a disconnect between my mind and my body.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like they were two different things. So if my body would get sick, I would think, "Oh, that's just a physical issue. That has nothing to do with my mentality or my emotions." But what I realized through the meditation is that mind, body, and soul are really all just extensions of one entity, of our core being.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's something going on emotionally, that's going to manifest physically. And so what I teach people is that whatever they want to create in their life, whether it's financial abundance, improved relationships, increased health, whatever they want to create in their exterior world, they need to find that place on the inside first so that they get in tune with, so that's where the mind part, the emotional part comes in. And then body being not just our physical body, but representation of the exterior world, that will come to match it. So when the inside is right, the outside falls into place.
Great. Great.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. And Dina, and how did you decide to write your book, Madly Chasing Peace? Is it about your story, your challenges, and how you came through this? Like your book is called Madly Chasing Peace. How I went from hell to happy in 9 minutes a day.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh.
It's funny because I never intended to write a book. Like, I didn't intend on sharing this message with anybody. Like, this was, my journey and my own healing. And when I was first going through it, I had a lot of shame about it. Like, I was embarrassed about being an addict and, doing all these things I had done. And, but the way that I started writing was because probably about 4 years ago, I was in a place of peace. 5 years ago is when I was a disaster, but about 4 years ago is when I really had done a year of the work and come to this place of peace. And I decided that I wanted to get a hobby. I thought, I want to learn something new. And I was trying to decide between taking a class in Spanish so I could learn how to speak Spanish, or a class in knitting, because I always wanted to learn knitting, making sweaters and everything, or a class in writing.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, I chose the writing class. So I chose it it wasn't my intention to even write about my story. It was just that I wanted to learn a hobby. And I took that class, and then I started sharing my writing with people. And the person who really was instrumental in me having my writing become a book was Jack Canfield. The guy who writes Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Dina.
Yeah, so when he read my writing, I went on one of his retreats about 3 years ago, and I said, hey, will you just read this and tell me, what you think about this writing? And I had only shared it with like 5 or 6 people. Like, I really hadn't shared it with anyone. He was like, this is amazing. Like, this is raw. This is real. This is compelling. He's like, you could really help people with stuff. And then he said, how can I help you bring your message to the world? You're going to need an editor, a publisher. And he really helped me get all of that together. So if that hadn't have happened, I don't know if it would be a book.
Yeah, and that's very, very important part. And Jack Canfield say about this in his book, like ask method, and you like help of other people, like mentors. You talked about this and team and everything. That's amazing story.
Yeah, he's great. He's really great.
Yeah, and we have some mutual friends, Dina, like Alice Doty and Patty Aubrey. You know them. I've seen some pictures with them, with you, and that's amazing. Have you been on training of Jack Canfield?
No, I haven't been through that training. I've gone to his BTS though, the Breakthrough to Success.
Yeah,
I've done that a couple of times.
Yeah.
But I haven't done the Train the Trainer. Have you done his workshops?
Not yet, Dina, but honestly, I'm going to. I will let you know
Oh,
later.
you should. He's so great. And
Thank
Alice is great, and Patty is great. I mean, wonderful human beings.
Yes.
Really.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Dina, and tell me more about your mentors, please. You talked about Jack Canfield, and I know you know personally Bob Proctor and Tony Robbins and some others. What are mentors for you, and why do you learn from practice, like from the best in business and personal life? And tell our subscribers and listeners why it's so important to learn and to visit seminars and read books and something like that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know all of those people personally. I've never met, Tony Robbins. With Bob Proctor, I'm not related to him, even though we have the same name. But I know, everyone thinks he's my dad or my uncle or something. But, we're not related. But he is, one of my mentors is a woman named Peggy McCall. And her mentor is Bob Proctor. So she introduced me to him, and I've had conversations with him and everything. But for me, the role of mentors is, as you're going down your path, there's always someone in front of you who holds the lantern for you so that you can reach the next place. And
Yeah.
there's always someone behind you that you can hold the lantern for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like our role as we progress along our path is to light the path for people who are getting to where we are, and then also looking ahead to where other people are, so that we can discover, and not I don't really necessarily think that with mentors that it's not really about
Mm-hmm.
doing it exactly the way that they did it. It's about taking their wisdom and their spirit, and most importantly, seeing where their mindset was, where their
Absolutely.
emotional state was
Yeah.
when they created their success. So then you can emulate that. That's what's most important to me. It's not like, hey, how did you get a best-selling book and make a lot of money coaching? To me, it's like, what mindset did you hold when
Mm-hmm.
that stuff came to be for you? Because that's what I can emulate, is being in touch intuitively, right,
Yes.
with what wants to be born through me. And so that's what I get from my mentors. But I will always have mentors, and they may change. They have changed over the years, and they will continue to change, because as I advance further along my path, there's always going to be a different person holding that lantern.
Yes, and about me, Dina, I'm very grateful that I found personal development like 7 or 8 years ago, and when I asked question for myself why some people are successful and others are not, and I started to read biographies, autobiographies, read books like Brian Tracy and advices and something like this. My life
Uh-huh.
became becoming better and better every day, and I feel it, and I say to my friends, to colleagues, that this is work for me, and this like goal setting and everything they teach, it works. And uh, what what um, what do you think about the law of attraction, Dina? When you told about ideas, and when you become like when you start think like that people, when you read, when you learn from them, what about this? It's like the law of attraction. You attract like-minded people, and tell us about this, please.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So law of attraction, you're exactly right. It states like attracts like. And it's really funny because before I had had the experiences of healing that I had had, I didn't know any of this. Like, there's a lot of people that understand it intellectually, but have never really lived it. But what happened to me was the opposite. I didn't even know about it, but I was living it. And then I saw the movie The Secret and stuff, and I was like, oh my gosh, these people already figured it out, and I had to learn it the hard way.
Uh-huh.
so, but for me, it's kind of interesting, because for me, it's not something that I had an understanding of before. So I was like completely open to, I didn't have a preconceived notion about how this thing would work. So it really unfolded very purely for me. But to answer your question, like, law of attraction being like attracts like. So, and what I was saying before about getting the inside right so that the outside comes into place, if you want to create better health or better relationships or more abundance in your life,
Yeah.
you need to be the match for that stuff to be coming into your experience. You can't have a scarcity mentality and then attract abundance. So
Yes.
the like being being abundant mentality will attract the exterior abundant mentality. So it's about getting that, a mindset of health will create a body of health. That's what like attracts like means to me. That's
Yes.
just my personal kind of definition. But it's like, I need to be on the inside in the emotional and mental state of being, so that I can then attract and create that exact state of being on the outside. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely, Dina. And what difference between successful people and others, that successful people think what they want and how to get this, and unsuccessful, unfortunately, doesn't know how to think well, and they criticize and something like this, and they attract negative in his life. And Dina, and do you have like TV set, or you read a lot, and what about your usual day? How do you spend this? Like, what do you do at the morning, in the evening, and afternoon?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, I do 3 by 3, right?
Uh-huh,
So
uh-huh.
I have my little 3-minute meditations. But between that, I love reading. I read a lot of kind of inspirational stuff. Right now, you might laugh but I'm reading Harry Potter. Because it really has a lot of spiritual little messages in it. I really like it. And I like, Jack Canfield's work. I like Abraham Hicks. I like Deepak Chopra, Eckhart Tolle. So I like reading those people and their kind of works. And then a lot of my time is spent with coaching. I have my own coaching business, coaching clients that I, coach mostly over the phone and Skype or, doing some in-person stuff. And lately I've been having a lot more speaking opportunities. Every couple of weeks it's like an opportunity to, speak to a group or speak at a conference or lead a workshop. So that hasn't been something that I've been doing for very long, but it's becoming more and more frequent, and it's really, really fun.
Yes, that's great opportunity. Dina, how did you start all of this stuff? How did you start public speaking and just writing your articles, or you just decided, I want to be public speaker, I want to be a success coach and mind-body connection coach, or what was your first step, first goal for becoming better and better every day in this and other fields of your life?
Well, it's funny because I always say that I'm living a dream I didn't know that I'd had. Like, if you would have asked me a couple of years ago, do you want to be a public speaker? I would have said, no. If you would have asked me 3 years ago, do you want to leave your day job where I had a good job. I had a steady income. It was comfortable for me. There was nothing wrong with it. And I would have said, no, I don't want to start my own business. I don't want to be financially fearful. I don't want any of that uncertainty. And I sure don't want to be up in front of a group. And I really don't want to share my deep, dark secrets with the world. I never wanted to do any of that. But my practice, and this is, I think, something that as I find more and more people that have created success for themselves, I feel like my way is a little bit different because I don't necessarily intend for stuff. I don't have this goal of like a certain amount of money that I want to make, or I don't have a goal of, I'm going to be a coach and a speaker. What I do is just stay really present in the moment, and my only intention is to be the fullest expression of my innermost self in my physical form for the greatest good of my life and all the lives that my life touches. And so when I intend for that, these ideas and opportunities just kind of turn up, so like with the writing, I just started it as a hobby, and then suddenly Jack Canfield says, hey, I'm going to help you make this into a book. Me and my team will, work with you through this. And so then it can become a book. And I remember Jack even said, hey, have you ever considered being a coach? And I remember thinking, no, you don't even need a degree to be a coach. I don't feel like that's a legitimate career. You know what I mean? But I really came around to it as I got my own mentors and coaches and stuff. Like, I really came around to the idea of it's not about having a degree or having a certification, whatever. I have a certification, but it's not about that. It's about that I have something to give that can enrich the lives of others. And by doing that, I can actually create a business where I can do this full time and still support myself. So it's not like I intended this stuff. It's just that as I relaxed into my deepest mission, it showed itself to me. I think if you would have told me 3 years ago that I would have a best-selling book and be speaking on stages, I think I would have ran and hid under the covers because I didn't want that. That wasn't something I was ready to hear. So, but as I was open to it, and as one foot went in front of the other, and then the book gets done, and then it's like, okay, maybe I'll speak here and maybe I'll speak there. Then I can come up to speed with it. But for me, it had to be gradual. Otherwise, I think I would have gotten scared.
Yes. That's great, Dina. And right now, you're a role model and mentor for hundreds and thousands of people, and you're doing great job and do a lot of value things for people and transform their life. Have you thought how would you like to be remembered by next generations? Maybe if you had these thoughts, and why?
That's a good question. I don't know if I've ever thought about that, but you know what? It's funny because if anyone gets, like, if no one ever remembers who I am or what I look like or my name, but what they remember is that you can use little 3 minutes throughout the day of
Mm-hmm.
meditation and touching into that highest source of wisdom to be able to create your ideal life and let go of things that are holding you back. If that's all that is left, that would be enough for me. If it's like, I don't remember who created that, but this 3x3 meditation thing is really powerful. Because to me, it's not really even mine. It's just what was born through me.
Yeah.
It's kind of like if I gave birth to a beautiful little girl or little boy, and I can't take credit and say, oh, I designed those beautiful eyes, and I designed, I can't. That's bigger than me. It's my child. It's mine. But it wasn't created by me. I'm just the vessel. And so that's what I feel, is that I just want my child to thrive, my 3x3 meditation, to touch, and it's not for everyone, but for the people that it can help, I want it to be as available as possible so that people can find it and be uplifted by it.
Amazing. And could you please tell some recommendations and your ideas to those people who want to succeed in life and doesn't know where to start, and maybe you can inspire them and make something for them, like to think and to do.
Yeah, no, I love that question. I think the most important thing is to remember that the entire path that you can follow is bigger than you. Your message is bigger than you. And that kind of takes the pressure off of you needing to design it and create it and kind of force it into place. My success has been about just letting it go and being in touch with my intuition, quieting my mind and getting into my heart, and just listening to each step one at a time where it was leading me. And that has created, I'm very reliant on the universe. I don't have stress, really. I don't feel overwhelmed or too busy. Like, I always have things to do. My calendar is full, but I never feel like I'm doing too much. I never feel overwhelmed. And I think that's because I'm in the flow of what is bigger than me.
Yes.
So for people looking to create, to create success, there's already a perfect success plan out there for every single human being. I really believe that. It's about relaxing into it, getting quiet and listening for it, and then following it, not needing to know the whole picture. Because like I said, sometimes it's a gift that you don't see the whole picture,
Yeah.
So, but listening and trusting that one by one, you're on a need-to-know basis, and you might not need to know until the exact moment that you need to know where you're going to go next and where your next meal is coming from, and where the money is going to come from and where the clients are going to come from and the opportunities. That's okay. You don't need to know all that stuff up front. It's just make sure that your inside is clear, you're in touch with your intuition, and that you rely on the power greater than yourself, intelligence and creativity that's the basis of all life, has your well-being in mind and has the perfect plan or opportunity. I don't believe that there's just one, but there is, so it's like when we just get quiet and intuitive, we can see one step at a time how it's going to unfold. And so that's how I would say for anyone just starting out, because this way it's not overwhelming. You get in practice of clearing out that channel to hear your intuition, and you get in practice of trusting and just letting go and trusting and releasing, that sort of thing.
Great advices. Dina, thank you very much for your time and for this interview, for being with me this little time, and I appreciate you very much, and I will send you a link for this interview, and I write a small article about yourself and your website. Just do you want something to say more, or?
I think I'm good. Thank you. This is really fun.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much, and talk to you soon.
Okay. Take care.
Yeah. Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Bye.